straight away. Cool. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to April's Ordinary Council meeting for the Shire, March Ordinary Shire meeting for the Shire of Esperance. I welcome you all. I'd like to welcome the visitors in the gallery and also our media, Jeff and Emily. I'll start the meeting with the acknowledgement of country. The Shire of Esperance acknowledges the Kepaka Wajari people of the Noongar Nation and Naju people who are the traditional custodians of this land and their continuing connection to land, waters and community. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and we extend that respect to other Aboriginals today. Okay. Item 2 is attendance. So in attendance we have all councillors except for Councillor McMullen and Councillor Starcevich, who are both on leave of absence. Everyone else is here, including the executive, so welcome all and thank you for coming. Apologies are noted. Leave of absence, as I see Councillor Johnson and Councillor Starcevich Councillor McMullen and Councillor Starcevich are on holiday, so I'm not granted leave of absence. There's no other apologies. Go to item 3, which is, item 4, which is applications for leave of absence. Do I have any members wishing to apply for a leave of absence? Okay, I'll apply for a leave of absence from the 22nd of April through to the 4th of May. Are there any other leave of absence? Have anyone willing to move that we accept those application for leave? Councillor Oborne, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Johnson. Any ready to vote? Those in favour? Thank you. 7-0. Item 5 is announcements by the person presiding without discussion. There is nil. Item 6 is declarations of members' interests. Are there any declarations of financial interest? Are there any declarations of proximity interest? Any declarations of impartiality interest? Councillor De Haas.
Yes, I'd like to declare an interest in item 12.1.2, the proposed road dedication, as this family are friends of mine. And I would also like to declare an interest in item 8, the Compassionate Community Charters group, as I'm a member of this group.
Thank you. Are there any further? Councillor Graham?
Yeah, I'd like to declare an impartiality interest on 12.3.5 for the lease request, which is at the Esperance Bay Turf Club, of which I am a member of and a past president of.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yeah, through the chair, I'd like to declare an impartiality interest in item 17.1, Graham Mackenzie Stadium Replacement Design and Construct, as one of the applicants is a neighbour of mine.
Thank you. Are there any further impartiality interests? Thank you. We'll move on to item 7, which is public question time. Does anyone in the gallery have any questions that they wish to ask? Move on to item 8, which is public addresses and deputation. I believe we have a presentation from, and it's got CCCE here, which does not help me in any way, shape or form. Compassionate Communities. So I will invite you up to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Meredith Waters and I'm here with Alay Shavish. Hello. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. We do have a video that we would like to play shortly. So we are a part of a small group that is the Compassionate Communities Charter of Esperance, and today is, I think, an auspicious day for us to be here doing this, because Compassionate Communities as a movement has been growing over many years, and this week, in fact, I've just come from an online presentation where they've launched Compassionate Communities Australia. So it's growing in its, I guess, reach and influence, hopefully, from the point of view of starting in small grassroots communities individually that are networking better, and so today is the launch of Compassionate Communities Australia. So thank you for having us on this day. Are we good to go with the? Yep. Please watch and.
Being remote, Esperance has challenges that are unique to nowhere else in Australia. We are the last coastal town between here and the South Australia border, and our nearest major centre is about 5.5 hours drive away. So in Esperance, you have to be self-reliant.
Some of the biggest challenges at Esperance, there's a lot of grief around the demolition of the jetty. There's, a lot of grief around loss of life in bushfires. There has been, lots of challenges, I guess, to overcome in terms of trauma and grief in this community. Coming into the community and seeing the opportunities that are there in terms of, building on the foundations of the compassion that has been shown in those times of adversity. The Compassionate Charter came about through the program. It was one of several projects that participants could select, and that was the one that I chose to go with. The Compassionate Community Charter is a bit of a worldwide movement, but it came about through the palliative care space. So it'll just give people just give them the moment to actually think before they speak, and is it kind? Is it compassionate? Am I being judgmental? Does this need to be said? Is this appropriate? Just take a step back and just think.
Through trying to develop more respect amongst community members and more empathy, that having a Compassionate Community Charter, which is just basically like a statement that says what the community of Esperance values and what we see as important as a community to help us get through difficult times, to be resilient, and to stay strong and healthy as a community. I think the most tangible benefits of the LARC program have been in the skill development that we've acquired, but also it brought community members together who wouldn't normally have worked with each other, who actually we didn't even know each other until we showed up at the LARC program. And we realized by having the vehicle of a project that we could work together with like-minded people in our community, and we could actually contribute back to the community through these positive projects.
Esperance community's been through a number of challenges in the last number of years. So we had devastating bushfires in 2015, which was really impacted the community. We've also had a number of suicides within our community. We've had challenges with infrastructure like our jetty, which divided the community as well. So Compassionate Community, I think, will assist in mending some of those bridges, and I think will help build a stronger community. The work that Compassionate leaders are doing is trying to find out from the community what is really at the core of making a compassionate community, and trying to understand that and getting some actions into place in our community that will assist with that. And I know one of the ones that they're doing at the moment is focusing on social media and giving people a little stamp to say, look, you're having a positive influence rather than negative influence. Regional communities really look to our leaders and for a lot of different supports, especially around when there's incidents within our community, and that puts a lot of pressure on those leaders as well. So resilience by those leaders to be for our communities, because they are relying upon us a lot.
The LARC program has provided us community members with a vehicle to do something positive for the community. And they allowed us to work on a project of our own choosing. And of course, our team chose the Compassionate Community Charter Esperance project. And I think that it will have a lasting legacy. We're really hopeful it will have a lasting legacy in Esperance to be something that the community can be proud of, to be something that the community can align themselves with, and be a positive change agent.
I believe the Compassionate Community Charter of Esperance will help guide our community to have strong leadership that's going to support all of our community into the future and be able to support emerging issues and needs as they arise. The type of leadership I would like to see is leadership that displays compassion, that is aware of their own biases and has the ability to listen to all sorts of voices in our community.
After the time that I spent as part of the Leading Australian Resilient Communities program, I think what that's kind of changed me into is definitely to be more open, and allow myself the opportunity to grow. And I think growth is essential for us as humans. And I think we stop living once we stop growing. It's really important as leaders, one, to grow yourself, and also be the catalyst for growth in people around you.
Thank you for watching that. We hope that that kind of captured much more quickly and interestingly than me just talking about what the compassionate community...
My name's Anton. I live on Waiheke Island.
Dun, dun, dun. So, we wanted to acknowledge the support from LARC, which is a leading Australian Resilient Communities, and the ARLF, is the Australian Rural Leadership Foundation. The video that you just watched was created because the ARLF chose our project as a case study last year from all the projects that arose from all the LARC courses that were presented last year. So it was actually at this time last year, that I was standing last time, I think, that we first presented to the Shire. And today we're here to keep you up to date with the Compassionate Community Charter of Esperance, and to ask for an in-principle endorsement so that we can keep going with the next step. Last year and into this year, we've used the Embrace Esperance website as a platform for gathering and storing information that we've gathered from the community when we went about talking to people about compassion. We've spoken to many people at community events, at networking events, and in general just living our life with the people that we know. And the draft that we're presenting today is the result of that consultation so far. So can I just run through the charter, just so we all know what we're talking about. Lots of communities all around the world have charters, and they're all slightly different because it's all actually about that community. So here's our draft that we want to present to you today. The Compassionate Community Charter of Esperance. Anchored in compassion. Celebrate diversity. Love where we live. Respect for all. Coming together as a community and play your part. So we recognise, anchored in compassion, we recognise compassion as the cornerstone of our community. We encourage understanding, kindness and a sense of belonging. We treat every soul with respect, empathy and dignity, and honour the unique tapestry of our community. We celebrate diversity. We celebrate the rich diversity within our community and commit to creating an environment where everyone feels welcome, valued and heard. We stand against the tide of discrimination based on race, gender, ethnicity, religion, age or any other characteristic. Love where we live. We cherish our beautiful environment. It's precious to us. We tread lightly on our land, protecting the native plants and animals and preserving our pristine environment for generations to come. Respect for all. We listen to each other without judgment. We allow others the space to hold differing opinions, and we do not put others down. Our differences can be the threads that weave our community tapestry. We use dialogue, curiosity and collaboration in knitting together positive relationships in our community. And coming together as a community, in the storms of life, of hardship and grief, we come together to provide support for one another to help overcome the challenges we face in our community. Through shared sorrows and triumphs, we offer hope, weathering the waves together with kindness, understanding and curiosity. Play your part. We invite all to lend their voice, their hands, their hearts and their ideas to volunteer and be a part of sport, arts and events in the community. And each of us is called to play a role in creating a great quality of life for all people. So we're aware that a compassionate community charter could be seen as somewhat whimsical. So in our planning and our learning, we have measures in place so that we can measure success. And you can see that having a compassionate community charter is more than just a nice idea. Understanding from our learning during the LAT course, we know that language creates reality. So our measure is that we will see and hear a distinct increase in the words compassion and kindness, both on social media and in general conversations around town. We're trusting in the knowledge that as this happens, that more behaviours and actions will follow. So the next step in having a compassionate community charter adopted in Esperance is that hopefully with your in principle endorsement, we'll engage the community over the next few months, inviting people and groups to continue to comment and request edits, so that when we come back to you and present a final draft for endorsement, it will be a by the community for the community charter. Now, the charter is part of an actual tiered project, so the charter is the overarching head and heart that helps to develop the aspirations of our community and inspire individuals and groups. But the next layer is where the action happens. So we're gathering volunteers to be trained in the skills and the knowledge needed to effectively support people facing hard times. So this includes end of life and the grief that surrounds that. And the skills are being able to listen well, that to be able to effectively ask for, offer and receive help. And Esperance Care Services has indicated that they're willing to host, nurture and facilitate that level of involvement. Additionally, our charter extends beyond compassion to people to encouraging all of us to be compassionate with and in our community and our environment. And we'll be looking to the third layer is individuals choosing to be compassionate in our community as the charter is absorbed into just everyday life. And just like a small stick, if it stands up there, it's gonna fall.
Let me help you with that.
Okay.
There it is. You know, it's still a bit weak. Matthew, could you help us? We're getting closer. Okay, can someone else assist? Little by little. All right. Somebody else? Who else can help us over here? The table's slippery. There we go. All right, we're getting there. Anybody?
So a small stick can't stand. Yeah, keep coming. A small stick can't stand on its own. However, if many small sticks lean in and lean on each other, they will be able to stand. I'm confident. We've practiced. So your foundation's important. See, the metaphor's going well.
Oh, that's made the difference in the world. Yes. There you go. We're all set.
So if we stretch the metaphor, the charter, the sticks really can, if it was bigger, just imagine, it could actually provide shelter and covering. Yeah. Are we nearly there? Beautiful. Yeah. And then, but wait, there's more.
An extra part of our community.
Which is beautiful, but what we picture as the charter is the binding that we would put around the top, and that will actually help hold the structure to be more resilient and able to weather whatever comes against it. So that's our presentation in asking for in principle endorsement for the initial draft of the CCCE, the Compassionate Community Charter of Esperance. So thank you for your time and your interest today.
Thank you very much for that presentation.
That's all right. Is there any questions? Yes. So am I. When we've practicing, we didn't think about the shiny surface.
No worries. Thank you very much for that presentation, and no doubt we will take the request on board, and we will be following that through.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you for your time.
And participation. So no hitting people with the sticks, and you could use them as a talking stick if you want to.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. We'll move on to item 9, which is petitions. Are there any petitions that we have? Item 10, confirmation of the minutes. Everyone obviously would have had time to read the minutes. Are there any questions in regards to the minutes from last OCM? Do I have anyone that's willing to move that the minutes be recorded? Councillor Johnson, seconder. Councillor Davies, sorry. Is there any speakers for or against? Any comment? Those in favour, please show your hands. Thank you. Sorry. No worries. Delegates' reports without discussion. Item 11 on the agenda. Councillor Starcevich is not here. She's no. Councillor Johnson. That's right. Councillor Davies. Cool. Councillor Flanagan.
As tabled, thank you, Mr. President.
Councillor Mullins on leave. Councillor De Haas.
Yes, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Shane to thank the organisation for organising the cultural awareness training. I, for one, found it extremely beneficial and got a lot out of it, so thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Graham. Councillor Oborn. And mine is up there as tabled. Thank you very much to everyone at the Conningup Fair that donated to the PNC. We will go to item 12, which is matters requiring a determination of council, which starts on page 11 for those. So item 12.1, external services, policy review, local planning scheme 24 advertising requirements. Are there any questions in regards to this item? Is there anyone willing to move the officer's recommendation? Councillor Oborn.
I move that council adopt the local planning scheme number 24 advertising requirements policy, inclusive of amendments, inclusions, rescissions and deletions as reviewed.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor De Haas, thank you. Do you wish to speak to your motion, Councillor?
Just simply to say that this is the last policy in the external services tranche. It's administrative in nature. There was nothing contentious that we discussed or debated, and it was clearly outlined in the agenda.
Anyone wish to speak against the motion? Seconder, do you wish to speak for the motion?
Nothing to add to that, thank you.
Does anyone speak against, for the motion or an amendment? I'll take it ready to vote. Those in favour? 7 votes to 0. Thank you. The next item is item 12.1.2, proposed road dedication on page 24 for those that are page 24. Are there any questions in regards to this item? Does anyone wish to move the officer's recommendation or an alternate? Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move an alternate motion, if I may, please. I'd like to state, 1, that Council does not surrender a portion of Reserve 35037 being lot... Right, that's different to what I thought.
It's up there if you wish.
Sorry. I thought it was 1045, but anyway, maybe it's just because I've been looking at it differently, but I'll continue. Reserve 35037 being lot 2033 on plan 187527 Myrup Road, Myrup, for the purpose of a road dedication. Advise the applicant, Mr Stephen Hoffrichter, that although the Shire Council will not complete the road dedication process on his behalf, the Shire Council will support and approve Mr Hoffrichter's personal application to the Department of Planning, Lands and Heritage and or the West Australia Planning Commission to assist him in progressing his own personal application. And 3, that the Shire Council will commit to offering the similar level of support and approval for landowners / ratepayers personal applications when their Shire requests are involving subdivision difficulties going forward, to ensure our Shire Council is practising consistent and accountable decision making.
Do I have a seconder for the motion? I'll call the second time. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Third and final time. Do I have a seconder for the motion? The motion lapses for the want of a seconder. Have anyone wishing? Councillor Graham.
Yeah, I'd like to move the officer's recommendation, please, that Council 1 agree to surrender its management order over a portion of Reserve 35037 being lot 2033 on plan 187527. 2, request the Minister for Lands to dedicate the indicated portion of 35037 being lot 2033 on plan 187527 Myrup Road, Myrup as a road. 3, advise the Minister for Lands in accordance with section 56(4) of the Land Administration Act 1997 that the Shire recognise that it is liable to indemnify the Minister against claim for compensation in an amount equal to the amount of all costs and expenses reasonably incurred by the Minister in considering and granting the request. And 4, advise the Minister for Lands that Stephen Hoffrichter agree to indemnify the Shire of Esperance against any costs and claims that may arise as a result of the dedication.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Das. Do you wish to speak to your motion, Councillor Graham?
Yeah, look, this is quite a historic situation here. This is relating to an access to a piggery that has been there for, I'm pretty sure, over 30 years. It's been used as the exit entry to this property over that period of time. Now, part of the rationale that possibly happened 30 odd years ago or more is the fact that this is a biosecurity, adding to the fact that there's a biosecurity disease controlled piggery, and therefore the movement of people through past houses, etc. like that. I would imagine this has been put in place for those reasons, to control the movement of people and potential issues with that industry of a piggery, running a piggery. So, like I said, this road's been like this for as long as I know, having lived in the area since I was a kid, baby, and I think it's the logical approach to convert this access through a reserve into a gazetted road, as it's been treated as a road for at least those 3 decades. So, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? I'll ask for amendment on that. Do you wish to speak for the motion, Councillor Das, as a seconder?
Yes, thank you. I'd just like to add that Councillor Graham has said 30 years. It's actually nearer to 40 years, but that's just fine-tuning it. This road, Pony Road, is a direct line access to the property. So to not allow this and to have to add another road in at some other stage is detrimental to the environment, among other things. And as Councillor Graham has stated, it's all to do with the, what's your beautiful word, biosecurity of this area. It's a piggery. It has 8 or more full-time people who work on this property. The only other access to the area is over a railway line. So to take their trucks, etc., for carrying the pigs through that area is not a safe process. I can't see an issue with doing this. So hopefully, yeah.
Thank you. Is the speaker against or amendment?
Can you just speak in general? I don't really want to speak against it because I want to amend. Oh, amendment. Okay, I'll go to the amendment. Thanks. Let's go there. I'd like to add, if I may, number 5 to the existing motion, that the Shire Council will commit to similarly supporting and approving other landowners / ratepayers' Shire requests or personal applications where possible relating to requests involving subdivision difficulties going forward to ensure our Shire Council is practising consistent and accountable decision making. Do I get to talk to that?
Would you like to move that that's the amendment that you want to add to this?
Yes, I would like to move that that was the amendment.
Do I have a seconder
Thank you.
to include that amendment? For the second time, do I have a seconder to add that amendment to this motion? A third and final call for a seconder to add to the motion. I take it the amendment lapses. We go back to the substantive motion, which is the first motion. The Councillor Graham motion. Just check, is that the order? Yep. Is there any speakers for or against this? Sorry, is there a speaker for this item? Councillor Oban?
Having given due regard to all the information we've had over the past week, I speak in favour of the offer's recommendation because it is simply formalising an informal arrangement that has allowed access for literally decades. But to give a specific example of what this looked like in people's lives, the Public Transport Authority wouldn't pick the Hotfritters kids up on the school bus route because there was no road on their planning documents. So there are reasons why we need to formalise this, notwithstanding the fact that it allows our own staff access to the car park for places they need to get into, and it's allowed for in clause 67 subsection S and T about vehicle access and car parking, and I haven't had any community concerns to me. No one's come to me and said that they have a concern about this agenda item.
So anyone wish to speak against the motion?
Well, I'm going to have to, which I didn't want to because I don't totally disagree with this item at all. But as we all know, I did a lot of due diligence surrounding this. I've written a few things down here, so I am going to read them because I put in a lot of hours with this, and I'm passionate about it on quite a few fronts because I'm very knowledgeable about the subdivision space, and as much as this is a road dedication, supposedly, it is only coming across our desk totally to facilitate subdivision potential for this person's property, and they do not have one legal access into that lot that requires the access for subdivision purposes, as my two professional people I engage and spent quite a bit of money with to back my information up, have informed all of us because I've shared it with you. So I'll just read this out if you don't mind. Primarily, the reasons I looked into this agenda item so thoroughly is that I'm very learned in this subdivision / access space, and hence I felt the information we were provided by the Shire didn't make total sense to me, as I knew there were many other options and pathways to achieve this applicant's requested outcome. I strongly believe it is a very important part of our role as councillors to ensure we are fully informed before making our decisions, and hence why I set out to do my own thorough due diligence. Furthermore, a very big reason I came to council was to increase consistency, accountability and transparency in decision making, which I had witnessed as a member of the public had been lacking with some decisions. Also, I believe very strongly that one ratepayer should never gain an advantageous outcome over all other ratepayers. This clearly is a foundation for the pillars of consistency, accountability and transparency in council's decision making. As Steve Thompson from Edge Planning stated, primarily the applicant clearly sets out the reason for the request is later to facilitate subdivision, which implicates reducing Reserve 35037 for a private benefit. As both the professionals are engaged for further advice and clarity relating to this item, there are several other options available to the applicant to achieve his desired outcomes, which have lower or no ongoing maintenance costs to the Shire to upkeep the new road. Furthermore, Landgate has responded this afternoon to my inquiry stating that lot 1045, which is the lot in question which would be getting the access, does not currently have one legal access, hence why the applicant requires this for subdivision purposes. Thank you.
Anyone wishing to speak for the motion? Anyone wish to speak against the motion? As I move the motion, Councillor Graham, you have the right of reply. Do you wish to utilise that?
Possibly don't need to, but just referring to the last comment, every location has legal right. You're stating that Landgate have said that there's no legal access. Shire have to give legal access to every piece of property if it be owned separately. So in any case at some stage this would need a legal access. So because this has been their access for so long, it is the logical legal access, and so that's the end of the...
Thank you. No further debate. I take it you're ready to vote. Those in favour? Those against? Passed 7-0. Thank you. Thank you very much. The next item is item 12.2, asset management, which if there is now, item 12.3, corporate community services, the policy review, asset management, which is on page 30. Are there any questions in regards to this item? Anyone that wishes to move the officer's recommendation or an alternate motion? Councillor Davies.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to move the officer's recommendation that Council adopt the asset management policies inclusive of amendments, inclusions and deletions as reviewed.
Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Flanagan, thank you. Do you wish to speak to the motion, Councillor Davies?
This is a administrative review. Everything in there is as it should be, so I'm happy to proceed with this.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Councillor Flanagan, do you wish to speak for it as a seconder?
No, thank you, Mr. President.
You kindly. No speakers for or against. I take it you're ready to vote. Those in favour? 7. Thank you. Item 12.3.2, which is a prioritisation of Club Night program grant applications, which is on page 32. Are there any questions in regards to this item? Is there anyone willing to or wishing to move the officer's recommendation or an alternate? Councillor Roble.
I move that Council 1 endorses the CNLP February Small Grants Application A from the Esperance Tennis Club Lights Upgrade and LED Conversion Project for the development bonus amount of $66,734.49 excluding GST. 2. Prioritising the application as follows. A. Esperance Tennis Club Priority 1.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor De Haas, do you wish to speak to your motion, Councillor?
Thank you, Mr. President. This application, as outlined in the agenda item, needs our support in order to be able to apply for the CNLP funding. We're not agreeing to a budget allocation ourselves, just endorsing the application, and it's the only way that they can apply is if we endorse it. So it's the first step, and this will come back through our community grants program for future decision making.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillor De Haas, do you wish to speak as a seconder?
Nothing to add, thank you.
No worries. Does anyone wish to speak for the motion? Against? An amendment? I'll take it you're ready to vote. Those in favour? 7-0. Thank you. Item 12.3.3, policy dealing with difficult people on page 46. Does anyone have any questions in regards to this item? Does anyone wish to move the officer's recommendation or an alternate? Go ahead, Councillor Johnson.
All right. So, where are we?
Page 47.
It's page 47.
Sorry
the
about that. I'm
recommendations
a
are.
bit excited about that. Okay. That council adopt the dealing with difficult people policy inclusive of amendments, inclusions and deletions as reviewed.
Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Huntington, thank you. Do you wish to speak to your motion, Councillor Johnson?
I will speak quickly. I would just like to thank all the Shire staff and fellow councillors for allowing this workshop to happen for this review, and definitely for Councillor Flanagan for his word wisdom in helping to get this implemented change addition added to the policy, which I think will serve our community very well going forward. So thank you, everyone.
Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillor Flanagan, do you wish to speak for the motion as a seconder?
Nothing further to add, thank you, Mr. President.
Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? An amendment? I'll take it you're ready to vote. Those in favour? Thank you. 7-0. Item 12.3.4, Proposed Extractive Industries Local Law 2024 on page 53. The officer's recommendation on page 54. Does anyone have any questions in regards to this item? Anyone wishing to move the officer's recommendation or an alternate? Councillor Davies.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to move the officer's recommendation that council request the CEO to 1. Give local public notice of the proposed Shire of Esperance Extractive Industries Local Law 2024 in accordance with section 3.12.3 of the Local Government Act 1995. 2. Forward a copy of the proposed local law and public notices to the Minister for Local Government. And 3. Prepare a further report at the conclusion of the public submission period to enable council to consider submissions.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to second that motion? Councillor Oborne. Councillor Davies, do you wish to speak to your motion?
As noted in the background, the law was up for review, and yeah, this is purely an administrative thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillor Flanagan, do you wish to speak? Councillor Oborne, do you wish to speak as a second?
Nothing further to add, thank you.
Do I have anyone wish to speak against the motion? Anyone wishing to speak for the motion or an amendment? I'll take it you're ready to vote. Those in favour? Thank you. 7-4. Item 12.3.5, lease request for a portion of lot 202 Fisheries Road, which is on page 75. Are there any questions in regards to this item? Lease request for portion 202 Fisheries Road. Does anyone wish to move the officer's recommendation or an alternate? Councillor Flanagan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the officer's recommendation that Council 1 enter into a lease with Telstra Corporation for portion of lot 202 Fisheries Road, Bandy Creek, subject to A, the lease term being 5 years commencing on the 8th of May 2024 with 3 further term options of 5 years each. B, a lease preparation fee of $630 including GST being payable. C, annual rent of $5,000 inclusive GST, including GST, being payable upon lease commencement, subject to annual increases of 3%, and Council considers this to be a true indication of the current market rental value. D, rent to be paid to the Shire and held in trust for the Esperance Bay Turf Club. And E, disposition being advertised in accordance with section 3.58 of the Local Government Act 1995, and 2, vary the existing lease with the Esperance Bay Turf Club to remove the above portion of land from their lease area.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Davies, thank you. Do you wish to speak to your motion, Councillor Flanagan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Pretty straightforward. I don't think it's a bad thing that Telstra are actually looking to install any sort of infrastructure that might improve telecommunications in our area. The lease has been agreed and agreed to by the Esperance Bay Turf Club, which is very important, and hopefully it'll improve things going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a speaker against the motion? Councillor Davies, do you wish to speak for the motion as the seconder?
As Councillor Flanagan said, anything that Telstra proposes to do to help support our mobile telecommunications infrastructure is a positive thing, and we'd be silly not to move forward with this.
Thank you, kindly. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? Anyone speak for the motion or an amendment? I'll take it you're ready to vote. Those in favour? 7-4. Thank you. Item 12.3.6, which is the Financial Services Report March 2024 on page 91. Are there any questions in regards to this item? No questions. Is there anyone wishing to move the office of Councillor De Haas?
Yes, I'd like to move the officer's recommendation that council receive the attached report entitled Monthly Financial Services Report for the month of February 2024.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Johnson, thank you. Do you wish to speak to your motion, Councillor De Haas?
Yes. As always, it's a pleasure to move this item. I particularly enjoy reading the line that says, "The council is solvent and I do not consider there are any other matters of liquidity that I would bring to council's attention." That is such a positive statement for us as a shire.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillor Johnson, do you wish to speak for the motion?
Sorry, nothing further to add.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? Anyone speak for the motion or amendment? I'll take it you're ready to vote. Those in favour? 7 votes to nil. Thank you. Item 12.3.7 has been withdrawn from this agenda upon the request for council to seek some further information and to complete a workshop on it. So we'll move to item 12.4.1, which is event funding for support the Esperance Hiking Festival on page 149. Does anyone have any questions in regards to this item? If not, the officer's recommendation is on page 150. Is there anyone wanting to move the officer's recommendation? Councillor De Haas.
Yes, I'd like to move the officer's recommendation that council allocate $10,000 toward the Esperance Hiking Festival event.
You do have a seconder for me. Councillor Oborne, thank you. Councillor Hash, do you wish to speak?
Yes, this hiking festival has been developed from the Esperance Tourism Strategy to support and encourage events in off-peak season. Council endorsed the events discussion paper in May 2023 to enable seed funding of $30,000 to attract events and conferences. And this particular event has only requested a $10,000 allocation towards its running, and I think an event that is different to so many others that we have here is a win-win situation, and I would love to see us support it.
All right. Do I have anyone who wishes to speak against the motion? Councillor Oborne, do you wish to speak as a seconder? We have the second.
Thank you. No, I thought that was well put. Nothing further to add.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Either for the motion or an amendment? I'll take it you're ready to vote. Those in favour? 7 votes to nil. Thank you. Item 12.4.2, the common seal usage for October 2023 to February 2024 on page 154. Are there any questions in regards to this item? If not, the officer's recommendation is on page 155. Do you have anyone willing to move the officer's recommendation? Councillor Flanagan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very keen to move that motion. Officer's recommendation. I move the officer's recommendation that the council receive the report titled The Shire of Esperance Common Seal Usage for the period of October 2023 to February 2024.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for the Councillor Graham? Thank you. Councillor Flanagan, do you wish to speak to the motion?
I think the information provided in the council agenda is more than sufficient. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillor Graham is the seconder. Do you wish to speak for the motion?
I think that's worth a comment. Unfortunately, CEO hasn't brought through money on this one, much money on this one for selling blocks like he has in the last 18 months, but it is a process that still indicates you're keeping busy.
Thank you. Do I have anyone speaking against the motion? Either for the motion or an amendment? I'll take it you're ready to vote. Those in favour? Thank you. That's 7-0. Okay, item 12.4.3, the information bulletin for March 2024 on page 157. Does anyone have any questions in regards to this item? No questions. Does anyone wish to move the officer's recommendation or an alternate? Councillor Oborne.
I move that council accepts 1, the information bulletin March 2024 and 2, council priority summary, corporate performance February 2024.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor De Haas, thank you. Councillor Oborne, do you wish to speak to your motion?
Thank you. Just to say the same thing that I say every month, that this is my favourite report, that there is lots and lots done throughout the Shire over the course of a month, and so to thank the staff for all their hard work, but also to draw the community's attention to this report, because there is a wealth of information about what actually is going on in our community, and it's all there on the website. So yeah, this one's a good read.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillor Haas, do you for the motion?
Yes, I'd just like to add that, yes, this one is a really good read. It's almost as good as reading the financial report.
Thank you, Councillor De Haas. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Anyone speak for the motion or an amendment? I'll take it you're ready to vote. Those in favour? Thank you. That's 7 votes to 0. Item 13 is reports of committees on page 189. Starts on 188. There you go. Does anyone have any questions on 13.1, which is the compliance audit return for 2023? The officer's recommendation is on page 189. Sorry. Does anyone wish to move the officer's recommendation? Councillor Flanagan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just as keen to move this recommendation. I move that the committee's recommendation that council adopt the 2023 Shire of Esperance compliance audit return pursuant to Regulation 14(3) of the Local Government Audit Regulations 1996.
Thank you, Colin. Do I have anyone to second that? Councillor Davies, thank you. Do you wish to speak to the motion, Councillor?
Thank you, Mr. President. The only comment I'd make is that it's a clean bill of health, not one single area of non-compliance within the audit, which is brilliant. And I can just only congratulate the CEO and everyone responsible for that effort, including the Director of Corporate and Community Services.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillor Davies, do you wish to speak for the motion? Is there a seconder?
No further comments, thank you.
Right. Is there any further speakers against the motion or for the motion or an amendment? I'll take it you already vote. Those in favour? Thank you. 7-0. Item 13.2, the Risk Register and Audit Regulation 17 Review Action Update on page 203. The officer's recommendation is actually on page 203. Are there any questions in regards to this item? Does anyone wish to move the officer's recommendation or an alternate? Anyone wish to move the officer's recommendation or an alternate? Councillor Oborne.
I move that Council accept the quarterly report on actions from the 2023 Risk Register and Audit Regulation 17 reviews.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Flanagan, thank you. Do you wish to speak for your motion, Councillor Oborne?
Thank you. No, this is another administrative one. We're just accepting the report, and I think it was clearly outlined in the agenda.
Thank you. Do you wish to speak against the motion? As a seconder, do you wish to speak for it, Councillor Flanagan?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to add that reading the report provides a lot of comfort in relation to the way the risks are actually identified, managed and mitigated by the Shire officers. And so as a councillor, as a closet bureaucrat, very happy with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against the report? No motion, sorry. Anyone wish to speak for the motion or an amendment? I'll take it you're ready to vote. Those in favour? 7-0, thank you. Item 13.3, which is the 2023-24 budget review on page 222. Does anyone have any questions in regards to this item? If not, do I have anyone that is willing, that wishes to move the officer's recommendation, which is on page 228? Councillor Oborne.
I move that Council 1 adopt the 2023-24 budget review. 2, approve the budget request for an increase in capital investment of $12,000 in 2023-24 for an office enclosure as included in the bottom line. 3, approve the budget request for an increase in operating expenditure of $50,000 in 2023-24 for the implementation of workplace health and safety software as included in the bottom line. 4, approve the budget request for an increase in operating expenditure of $50,000 in 2023-24 to support a strategic review of the Bay of Isles Leisure Centre as included in the bottom line. 5, approve the budget request for an increase in operating expenditure of $20,000 in 2023-24 to support a review of visitor camping as included in the bottom line.
Thank you, Councillor. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor De Haas, thank you. Councillor Oborne, do you wish to speak to your motion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to note that this still results in a reduction of our deficit to $5,210. And with regards to the budget bids, I wanted to highlight the visitor camping review, which in my opinion is imperative because as we've learned from doing the accommodation study, spending money in this way helps us to inform our strategic decision making moving forward.
Thank you, Colin. Do I have anyone speaking against the motion? Councillor De Haas, do you wish to speak as a seconder for the motion?
Nothing to add to that, thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion or an amendment? In that case, I'll take it ready to vote. Those in favour? Thank you, councillors, and I forgot to mention that needed to be an absolute majority as we are spending money. And that was definitely an absolute majority. Thank you. Item 13.4, which is the minutes of the Audit Committee on page 237. Are there any questions in regards to this item? Do I have anyone wishing to move the officer's recommendation or an alternate? Councillor Flanagan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the officer's recommendation that council accept the unconfirmed minutes of the audit committee meeting held on the 5th of March 2024.
Thank you, Councillor Flanagan. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Johnson, thank you. Councillor Flanagan, do you wish to speak to your motion?
Nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against that motion? Councillor Johnson, do you wish to speak for the motion as a seconder?
Nothing further to add, Mr. President, thanks.
Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion or an amendment? I take it you're ready to vote. Those in favour? Thank you. That's 7. Move on to item 14, which is motions of which notice has been given. Are there any motions for which there is no? Members' questions with or without notice? Are there any questions with or without notice? Thank you. Item 16, which is urgent business by business approved by decision. Is there any urgent business, Mr. CEO? No. We will move on to question 17, but just in case any members of the public or the media have any questions, I'll bring public question time forward. Is there any questions? Right. This time. Thank you. Then I'll move on to item 17, matters behind closed doors. Can I have someone, Councillor Graham?
Yeah, I'd like to move, go behind closed doors for item, that one, 17.
No worries. Seconded by Councillor Johnson. So, procedural motion. So those in favour? 7-0. Thank you. and either online or listening. Council went behind closed doors to look at the Graham Mackenzie Stadium replacement, design and construct. The resolution from Council was to name Drake Brockman Building and Construction Proprietary Limited as a preferred tenderer for request for tender 0552-24 Graham Mackenzie Stadium replacement, design and construct, and request the CEO to negotiate with Drake Brockman Building and Construction Proprietary Limited to reduce the tender sum and to bring back to Council the results of the negotiation consideration. Thank you. That concludes the meeting today. Thank you all for your attendance and for your work around the table. I understand that some of these decisions are difficult, but I guess that's what we put our hand up for in the first place. So thank you very much, everyone, and I'll declare the meeting closed.